The Quest 2 in the summertime can be absolutely awful depending on your environment, humidity, heat, lack of air conditioning. There is a set of covers out there from VR Cover that claim to be made of a cool XG foam that will help keep you cooler when you're playing. Let's see if we can put this to the test. Now, interestingly, on Amazon, there are a lot of rough reviews, mostly because people thought when they bought it, it was gonna be more than just 2 pads. They thought it was gonna be like a facial interface or something. Some people also take these to be, okay, you buy this to replace your original pad, you don't think of it as a facial interface. I know it's a great pad and maybe it cools you. No one can really tell, is this actually making the cool difference? I will say, first impression, you can tell there's something different about these than normal pads. They feel much heavier and the squish feels different. There's a diagram on Amazon, I'll have John pop that up here on the screen, that shows that it's got your normal PU leather, it's got a layer of that blue foam, you see it on mattress pads and stuff. They claim it helps cool you, helps disperse the heat out of you, and then it's got the normal foam in the backing, and you can feel that it's a little different than normal. But the problem is something as subjective as a slight amount of heat coming off of your face. How the heck do you test that? We're gonna take this over to the garage, and then we're gonna have a temp gun. John's gonna have that temp gun ready, and the minute I take my headset off, he's gonna shoot me in the head and find out what the temperatures are of where this was touching my face. The way we're gonna test this is I have borrowed one temp gun. A lot of testing is gonna happen off camera, but I'm gonna show you the first couple tests so you kind of see how we're doing this. It's not the most scientific method, but it's what we have. First thing real quick, right now we are in a garage getting about 70. There are some outside factors, and that's why we will be doing repeated tests throughout the weekend to get the exact results. What's gonna happen is I'm gonna play, I've got 2 identical facial interfaces here, except for one has the cooling pad and one has a normal pad. I'm gonna play a quick round of a game that gets me hot and warm. We're gonna check the temp of my forehead as I immediately pull it off and the temp on the pad itself. We're gonna hot swap the facial interfaces and then do the second round with the cooling pad. We'll take some time off, let them both cool back to ambient temperature, and then we'll redo the test, but with the cool pad first and then the other pad second. Look at those results. For me to say it's actually worth it, you'd have to be running probably about 3 degrees cooler. So let's find out. Forehead temp before we go in, 94.6. All right, cooling foam time. And really, this test isn't gonna tell us a lot until we get the second test in, because there are factors of I've been playing the game longer, I've allowed my face to get warmer. Subjectively, if you were to ask me right now, did it seem cooler with the foam? I thought it did, actually. I felt like I was cooler, I felt like it was nicer, but that could be placebo effect, that could be because I knew it was the padding. We're gonna have to do a lot more testing over the weekend. We're gonna go back and test Beat Saber, we're gonna do other stuff. But right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let these both sit here, completely get to an ambient, same temperature in the room again, and I'm gonna do one more quick test. We're gonna use the cooling foam first and then switch to the regular foam and see how that goes. So far, it looks like about 1 degree. I mean, that's enough on your skin that you kind of notice it, but I still feel like if it's less than 3, it still could be negligible. So we'll do the next test and then we'll do more testing after. Oddly, even after a great length of time sitting here in the same environment, the cool one does run about 2 degrees colder just sitting there. The foam must have some sort of heat dissipation. Again, 2 degrees isn't a lot. If you physically touch them, it does feel a slight bit cooler. But we're gonna go into the second test now. We're gonna do this again, but we're gonna go a more physical level and we're gonna do the cold pad first and see how this reacts.
91 degrees.
Whew, that was a much more intense level. Get the pad. 79. All right, switching to the regular pad. Whew, okay. It's only a little bit of data. We need a lot more to make a conclusion. So I'm gonna be here this weekend. It's supposed to be the hottest weekend yet. It's supposed to be almost 100 degrees. So it's a perfect time for me to be in a steamy, awful garage and testing this. So I'm gonna take down data, Beat Saber, Supernatural. I'm gonna try it all this weekend while John's out on his boat, enjoying himself in the nice cool. So I'll see you after the weekend. After over a week of testing, I feel ready to sit down and talk with you about our thoughts on the cooling foam. You saw some of the testing there. We were seeing that it seemed even in an ambient room, it did seem to be maintaining about 2 degrees lower. But again, I said at least 3 degrees I think would be the line, even if not 5 degrees. Testing in a lot of games, I found on average it was always about 2 to 3 degrees when I'd pull it off. I was a little cooler. I did feel like I noticed that I was a little cooler, but that is possible that was a placebo effect from knowing that I was using the cooling foam. Where I started to really notice the difference was when I would pair it with the fan, the Bobo VR fan, or especially the KK Cobb, because that blows wind inward, although the cooling foam didn't fit very well because this is so much bigger, it didn't cover all of it. But I started to notice a little over a 4-degree difference whenever I'd be using a fan in conjunction with it. 4 degrees, it's noticeable, but it's not huge. And for $30, I would say the foam is not the place to start. If you're too hot in VR right now, 1, you could get one of these fans that would help. 2, you could just get a room like a box fan or a standing fan, something that's gonna be blowing on you, helping you stay a lot cooler. I do like the foam though, and I am gonna stick with it because I have it, but at $30, it's a lot for a few degrees savings. I was impressed that it seems to do its job and what they say. For those of you out there who do want that extra cooling and $30 isn't a lot of money, I will leave a link in the description, but with those notes that remember, you're only getting a few degrees for this, and a box fan and room fan is probably gonna go a lot further in keeping you cool. So what do you think? I know a lot of you had asked me about this. I'm glad I was able to cover it for you, and I'd love to know if any of you had decided to get it. What did you notice? Thank you for coming out and being here with me today. We'll see you in another reality. Foam.